All right, we're back. Back to my anime story. When I was a kid,
No anime story. I stopped the episode just so you wouldn't talk.
we're gonna talk about my anime story.
Go
it's
ahead.
gonna happen.
Go ahead.
When I was a kid,
Yeah.
I watched anime because my parents were weird, and the cheapest things at the flea market were always VHS animes. So I had like
VHS anime is the best.
I know, right? Everybody's so jelly now because I'm like, yeah, dude, I got original VHS of card captures. I hate that show, by the way.
Baku Haku 7
Yeah,
Mark 4.
exactly. But like, I have My Friend Totoro on VHS,
Dude.
and that was one of my original favorite movies. And like,
That movie's legendary.
yeah, I would like tell other people like, oh, dude, have you seen My Friend Totoro? And they're like, no, but I saw Barney too. No.
My favorite Barney movie was Barney and the Rainbow Egg.
I'm so glad you shared that with me. Oh my god.
I have no
Oh
idea.
my god.
Do you think I know Barney movies?
I don't know.
No, I have no idea. Is there a Barney
There
movie?
probably is.
I have no idea. I didn't like Barney when I was a kid because I thought it was a baby show. I was really like when I was a small child. Yeah, when I was a small child, I loved Dragon Ball Z. I loved Spirited Away for whatever reason. It was just the thought
so
of like
good.
my parents like going and just like I guess turning into pigs was like really freaked me out, but it was so cool.
Yeah.
Like it's next one. No, next one.
The
Next one. Like Labyrinth with David Bowie. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah.
That movie like freaked me out of like a kid being taken away from like their caretaker. Like those kind of movies freaked me out as a kid because I'd be like in the middle of the night I'd be like, what if that happens to me?
What did that happen?
But like it never happened. But it was those movies that freaked me out, but made me so intrigued in them.
Yeah.
Like Spirited Away was like really like compelling to me because I was like, what if this actually happened?
Yeah,
This is freaking me out.
I didn't actually see that movie until I was about like 12, 13, something like that.
Well, the biggest thing is I didn't know if the ghost guy was a bad guy or not. The No Face.
Yeah.
I didn't know if he was a bad guy or a good guy. Because he'd always do... He seemed like he had good intentions, but he was always a...
He'd talk evil and act evil, and he sounded like he would do stuff for himself.
Well, he didn't talk though, like hardly though. He
Yeah.
talked, but his like it was like a one word phrase or like a sound. It wasn't like a at first until he ate, and then he became normal. I remember that or something like that. I haven't watched him in a long time.
God, that's such a good movie, though.
It's a great dude. That I'm blanking on his name. Do you know his name?
Who? The guy that made all those movies?
Yeah.
Like Princess Mononoke and
Mononoke.
My Friend Totoro and all that stuff. I'm for some reason I'm getting Cowboy Bebop in my head. I'm getting Sakaguchi, but that's not him. That's my favorite anime ever, by the way. Yeah.
Dragon Ball Z is my favorite. You know, I know it's the most like stereotypical like why Americans
Yeah.
make fun of anime thing. That's just like that was my first anime. Like that's just like I wake up and watch the Spanish versions on Saturdays when I was a kid. We lived in an apartment like in Texas, and that's like on Saturday mornings where we used to live out in West Texas. That you really didn't have anything to do back in the 90s.
It was your only option.
Early 2000s, 90s, you didn't do anything but watch Saturday morning cartoons. I know as a little kid, so it makes sense. But like the Spanish versions were so just like even Goku going. Despero del mundo. Like he always had a deep voice, and so like.
Oh man, it's so funny as it transcends language. Translated from Japanese to English to
Spanish,
Portuguese, their voices just got deeper.
Yeah,
like Japanese.
Well, no, Japanese is all high pitched, like
super high. Yeah, I can't even.
Like Naruto's voice.
I haven't heard it in Japanese.
They're all girl. Like Goku's a girl, and
yeah, I knew that.
All of voice actors are the girls because they do make best voice actors in Japan.
Yeah.
Just goes. I don't know. Because I don't know. But in America, it was always I don't know. I could never do a good Kakarot.
Kakarot.
Vegeta is easy. I mean, like I couldn't do a Goku. Like, hey guys.
Yeah, it's kind of hard.
It's his unique voice.
That was close.
Couldn't do a Krillin.
I can't even remember what Krillin sounds like.
I will find you and you will kill me.
Oh yeah, I know what Krillin's voice sounds like. I'm dying for the 14th time. Oh man,
Team 4-Star has that counter. That's the
really
that gets me every time. Yeah, like every time Krillin dies, like they put a counter. Because he surprisingly though, I rewatched it. And he doesn't die that much, but it's just like he dies every single time. It's like big villain. He's like, I'm gonna help. No,
Krillin, no, you're gonna die.
You're done.
Yeah, World 5 finally made it.
God, this is a long episode.
How do we get to World? I mean,
World Z.
How do we? No, I haven't seen that movie yet.
Neither have I. We should go see it. Wolverine. We didn't even touch on that.
Yeah, we really didn't.
We didn't touch on anything. X-Men. Go.
Yeah, I was a kid in the 90s. No. A lot of people say they were a kid in the 90s, but it's not necessarily true because when you're a kid in the 90s and you're honestly like 5 years old,
you don't remember. You don't remember.
Yeah, exactly.
Jack Squad or your life.
I was born in 95. X-Men came out in 98, if I remember correctly.
Which is cool. Yeah, yes.
But as a kid, I was discounted to old VHSs, old TV networks, like really bad stuff because my parents were not necessarily poor, but they didn't care enough to give me the expensive stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing because if you spoil your kids,
like I come from that. Like I'm not, even though I live pretty good right now actually. Like where I started out, my mom was working. My mom was going to college, working 2 jobs, taking care of 3 kids. Like she was divorced and she had some help on weekends, but for the most part, like it was.
I just freaked out in my chair a little bit after that 10.
We lived in a small apartment, not relatively small apartment. Yeah, we watched VHSs on a CRT, and I put marbles in like every single VHS I had because I was a kid. But then when I got old enough, I was like, okay, I appreciate it. But like, yeah, watched old cartoons, like old stuff, and it was the best because you realize now how good those things were, even though when you're a kid, it's like, oh, this is the normal stuff. Like, Invader Zim, it's really underrated.
I honestly... You don't okay.
Whoa. Everybody hate him!
Okay, first off, love Invader Zim. Thing about it, I didn't watch it until about 5 years after
about it.
I didn't watch it, the entire series, until 5 years after the last episode aired.
Oh, the Christmas episode.
Yeah. I didn't watch it for the longest time. And I didn't never watch it on Nickelodeon. I was never much of a TV watcher, still am not. I didn't watch it until about 5 years later when I was like 14, something like that.
I watched it when I have vivid memories of watching it when I was younger, like late at night with my brothers, because we loved that show so much, and it was just so weird and creepy, but it was fun, and like, it was awesome, because you don't realize how much you remember when you're a kid until you rewatch it, and I rewatched every single episode, like, because we watched every single episode, and I was like, what did they bring like the 90s? It was like, actually, that was early 2000s, I think. But
yeah, it was early 2000s.
I didn't realize how good of a show that was because it was like one of the first shows that got canceled for being like too like adult, which is weird because now shows are trying to be aimed more towards adults because they're arguably a lot of cartoons these days are crap. Even SpongeBob after the 3rd season turned really crappy because it's just like we need to hit our core demographic, children. And that was one show that never compensated. They were like, no, we're not. We're going to hit the demographic we want, and we're going to go for it. And it was cool. And then they canceled it because they were like, because here's the bad thing about appealing to teenagers. One, you have to be smart about it because if you make it too teenager, they're going to be like, okay, they're just trying too hard. If you make it too kiddish, but like not the right mix, it's not going to be good enough. But the thing is, appealing to teenagers, you have to have a certain like time frame about it, because what I realized when they brought back Toonami was that those were one of the things from my childhood. I was like, oh god, this is so awesome, but they're targeting like teenagers that used to watch it. That's exactly what they're targeting.
Yeah, exactly.
And adults and everything, and they just like they don't realize how much not enough time we don't have.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't have enough time anymore to do. Whoa.
Yo, swaggin'. We're too busy watching Law and Order to go back and watch.
I don't watch crime shows that much. Like,
I don't like crime shows.
They're okay, but so let me finish real quick. They don't know what their demographic wants. They know what they want. They just don't. They don't know what's a good time to give them. Just tense up. They don't know a good time to give them at, because the best time actually is like during the day. Because at night they're usually doing stuff. They're out. They're at work. I mean, even during the day they're at work. But that was a shame.
Oh man, maybe we shouldn't. Maybe Mario.
We're gonna try maybe one more time.
You know what? For the very first time, that's a song. We're gonna go ahead and stop.
Next game.